So hello people of the internet, and this is Ian Altazar, and this is my mini video series called Inner Peace. And if you haven't yet watched the previous 4 videos of this series, I will leave the links in the description below and you can go check them out, and I recommend you do, so you get more of a context. What is this and what does it mean and why am I doing this? But I will briefly speak about this as well, and as this part of the series is the last video I'm going to do, within this series, this practice I'm about to give you and to show you is a bit of an extreme one for sure, and I don't recommend it for people who are hard to even put this. It's at times when you haven't done these practices a lot and you haven't really, been on the self actualization or getting to know yourself path, or on a spiritual path for that matter, it's really hard for you to jump into, deeper practices. So start with easier ones. I gave you in the previous videos, but if you're ready, this one has proven in my life to be super useful. And I'm going to actually, when illustrating, I'm going to use my own example on what I use this practice on. And I wanted to share a brief little story about, spiritual teachings and spiritual things and matters and spiritual path in general. So there are many cycles to that path as well, and many how do I put this? Many junctures in that spiritual awakening path as well, and each one is quite different, and maybe I will do a series on those in the future. But lately I've personally been in a position of in a place of I need to really get to know myself and be my own master in a way. And being my own master in this case means, shutting down or not shutting down or just not taking a lot of information from outside sources. And the information I do take in is very limited. It's almost like two teachers I still listen to sometimes, and it's very rare even. And at times you're going to be in that place, and you're going to need to really look deep within yourself and, as I said, become your own master, because we can guide each other and help each other, and this is really important in everyday life and on spiritual paths as well. But there are junctures in those paths or roads, if you will, that you and you alone can only take. And I think I've been in that juncture, and I've needed to go really deep, and I'm continuing to do so. It's hard, obviously. These paths and these moments are hard, but like the rewards coming out of it, for me personally, just from my inner being and inner peace, have been quite unimaginable. So if you're like there listening to this video or watching this video and you're like, oh my god, this guy doesn't make any sense, I can't watch this. It's better, it's better if you're in that space to shut this down, just close the video, do your own thing, just look for someone else, you know, or just do your own thing and be your own master, for sure. And I wanted to share this before I jump into this practice. And this practice is all about, you know, the last video was about getting to know, or let's say understanding, those fears that are inside of us. And this practice is actually to do with going into those fears and being with those fears. And this can be done now differently. If you are willing, you can, and if you have the capacity and availability, you can take those fears that come up, and you know you have those fears, and consciously in the real world go at them. So basically, if you have a fear of public speaking, go public speak. If you have a fear of, you know, rejection from the opposite sex, let's say, or from, you know, lover type people, go and have relationships and get rejected, basically. And now there's another way, because we don't all have the capacity to go out in the real world and do those things. And, you know, with a lot of fears, there's actually no need for you to go and experience those things in the real world. And you can do it at home by yourself or with someone you trust. And I'm going to share a pretty personal story. I'm not going to name names or anything, but I'm going to share one of my fears, I think one of my biggest fears, or at least really up there, was getting cheated on by my romantic partner, or, you know, having a trust built with a partner and having that trust then broken. Because, you know, in romantic relationships, it really depends on what type of agreements do you have. So if you have an open relationship, you know, that's not really an issue. There are other issues there, but if you're in a relationship and you have agreed to, you know, be in a monogamous relationship and, you know, be truthful to each other, then it's an issue. And for me it was, and I had a really hard time trusting people, and anxiety about it, and, you know, all these kinds of things. Just a second, sorry. And I knew I really had to find a way, you know, to deal with it, because for my own sake. And you know, if you want to look at it even further, it is for the sake of the relationship. Because if you're feeling safe in a relationship, you show up in a relationship much better, in a better way, in a much healthier way. And I knew I needed to, you know, get through it somehow. But the fear was real. And this is the time, I can't even remember where I exactly learned this practice from, or where I think I heard some bits and pieces from different teachers, and I kind of perfected this method for my own, and hopefully you can do the same. So the gist of this is really simple. So take the fear you have in my case it was being cheated on, or being betrayed, let's say having the trust broken by the person who's closest to me. And what you can do is just again be by yourself, or, you know, with a person, and hopefully in a safe space, in a quiet place where there's not much disturbance. and just lie down, be comfortable, sit down, whatever. And mostly it helps to close your eyes at first, but as you as you grow and as you learn to do this, it doesn't really have to be, alone and closed eyes and just isolated. At times, for me personally, I still, when I get those fears, I at times do this on the spot. So when I'm in a conversation or something happens, something triggers some other fear or something, I do it consciously in the present moment. But at first it's much easier for you to just sit down and do it then. So what you do is you close your eyes and you just start imagining the situation. You start imagining the actual fear that you have. So in my case, it was cheating. So I imagined my partner just totally just going nuts, basically, and cheating all over the place. And when you do that, things start happening in your body, and things start happening in your consciousness, and all kinds of fears come up, and sensations in your body come up. This is where the previous videos of this mini-series will help you. I describe how to feel, basically, and that's basically the only thing you really need to do in that situation. Is you need to go in that space, imagine the fear, be in the fear for a moment, have those sensations start coming up, and then just be. And usually this only takes about I would say, for me it has even been in less, but it usually takes like 5 to 7 minutes just to be with yourself, and like the fear itself starts dissolving. Now it doesn't matter that it won't come at all ever, but it does, or it will give you the experience of that wholeness within yourself. So it will be in the future, when the trigger comes, it will be much easier for you to come into that grounded, wholesome place, let's put it that way. And basically that's it. There's not much, it doesn't need to be extreme, like difficult, in a sense, or maybe difficult is not the right word. It doesn't have to be some really advanced technique. It can be just really, really simple. And I think this is really, really simple. I recommend to do this only if you're already, older. You can handle sensations, emotions, feelings when you're already in a more stable place in your life. When there's a lot of turmoil, still I would start with just feeling and experiencing the turmoil at first, and then once you've gotten yourself into a more healthier space, more grounded, stable place, then start dealing with those fears. And I think that's it. It's been a blast doing and recording this series, and I have a lot of fun. It's been intense. I have had some intense experiences these past few days, and I'm at the time I'm doing this series, I'm also publishing my book. You can see it in the link or in the description below as well. And that has brought a lot of intense emotions. So I've had to, practice my walk, or practice my talk and walk my talk, so to speak. At the same time, I'm, sharing this experience. So it's actually, me doing this has been a real help for me in a very, very turbulent time in my own experience as well. But a happy time, because when you worked so hard for something for a long period of time, and now the culmination is here, there's a certain kind of happiness there, or a sense of completion. So I'm happy, I'm grateful, I'm glad I can do this, and I can be here and share this with you, and hope this helps with you. And if there are any questions, or it seems too extreme, or you need more information about it, just leave a comment. I will do my best to answer. And thank you again. Bye for now.